everyone, welcome to the Support the Spectrum channel. If you are new here, my name is Ryann Sutera. I'm a neurodiversity affirming speech language pathologist and owner of Support the Spectrum. And today we're going to be talking about the versatility of being a speech language pathologist and all the different avenues your career can take you. You could do early intervention, you can go into academia. There's so many options. And then I want to tell you about a really special place called Communiverse that has offered a lot of flexibility and work and support and joy into my life, and I hope it can be an opportunity for you as well. So let's break it down into the major locations for speech language pathologists. First one that most people think of are schools, right? A lot of people say that speech therapists are teachers that want to make more money. I've heard that many times, especially when I was in school. And I don't know, I don't really like when people say that. I think they're just unaware, right? They just don't know how much speech therapists do or teachers do. It's kind of like a read on both of those professions that deserve a lot of respect. Speech language pathologists are responsible for the development and growth of people's cognition, executive functioning skills, memory, attention, problem solving, emotional regulation, critical thinking, metacognitive skills. You're also responsible for people's voice and swallowing, their fluency, their articulation, their speech sound production and development, as well as kind of indirectly being influential on people's confidence and self-esteem in their ability to use their voice. So it is a lot of responsibility and it's serious, but most people think that if you are a speech language pathologist, you're working in a school and helping people say their R's or their L or their S sounds, and all of which are true and is a very valid and enjoyable part of the career if that's what you like. A lot of your therapy sessions in the school might look like literacy support and comprehension support. You may work in the general population or you may work in the special needs population. I specifically worked in autism classrooms when I was working at the school, and it can be so rewarding. And what's nice about working at the school is that it's a pretty structured day. So while sometimes it's hard to grab the students out of certain specials or whatever they're already scheduled to do, you pretty much know what to expect day to day. You do get breaks, you get a winter break off, you get summers off, and so that can be nice. You have lots of time to collaborate with others, and you can even pair up with other therapists, PTs or OTs to kind of tackle multiple goals together. So it can be very fun. Some downsides potentially is that obviously a lot of your time is being taken up throughout the day, obviously the full school day, and you most likely will be doing work after school as well, although you shouldn't. You should, put up your boundaries with that. It just ends up happening if you are creating certain treatment materials or writing notes or doing progress reports or whatever you need to do. There's a lot of documentation in schools, and your caseloads can be pretty high. Nonetheless, it's very rewarding, very cool thing to do. When I was working in the schools, I had the opportunity to support elementary school kids, high school kids, and I did a little bit of middle school in the summers, but otherwise primarily elementary school and always autism support. And it taught me so much about supporting autistic individuals. It was a learning experience that is invaluable. Speech therapists also work in hospital and medical settings. They may work in acute care, a skilled nursing facility, a rehab hospital. Whatever the case, you're most likely going to be working with more post-stroke, aphasia, swallowing therapy, cognition therapy, or medical procedures, people recovering from cancer or going through cancer, traumatic brain injury, or things like progressive diseases such as Parkinson's or bulbar ALS. And in this case, you could be working with anyone of any age, right? You're not limited to school-aged patients. You would be working with a variety of ages. I had the experience of working in a rehab hospital in school for an internship, and I also currently work for a home health company that works with the older population, so I see still medical cases as well. So what I can tell you is that if you are working in a rehab hospital, SNF, or acute care, you do have to meet caseload requirements and productivity requirements is what they're called. It can be really high numbers. It's a really busy day. You're on your feet a lot. You're going from patient to patient, and there's nothing wrong with it, especially if you are a super energetic person and you really kind of like the, adrenaline rush of emergency situations or situations where you really have to be on your toes. This could be the ideal setting for you. I will say though, it can be challenging to find jobs like this. Maybe it's better now, but when I was graduating in 2020, obviously that's not a good year for hospitals, right? It was really hard to find a position in a hospital. It was easier to find a school position. However, it might have gotten better. Maybe there's more of a need now. But just so you know, if that is your ultimate goal, you can always start out wherever you are needed in your career and transition to this. I know many SLPs who took the job in the school or clinic and then later got into a hospital or medical setting, and it can be done. Okay, the next type of work we're going to talk about is early intervention. This is also something I have experience with. I did early intervention for about 3 years. I just stopped this past summer just because my business was getting busy, but I absolutely loved it. First of all, if you like working with the little ones, this is where you're going to do it. Early intervention is specifically from birth to 3 years old. There is an extended program for 4 to 5-year-olds, at least in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure if that's in every state, but basically what happens is that this state hires companies to then hire private contractors, or you can work for that company to send them out to homes, or we're in the community. You can meet in the community as well, to little ones who need help with their development, with their speech language, cognitive, swallowing, anything type of development, anything SLP related development. I know that OTs and PTs also work for early intervention as well. What's really nice about early intervention is you actually don't have to do any of the evaluation work. So the state sends other people to do the evaluation. Perhaps you can get hired for that job too. I guess I never even really asked. But if you just want to be a treating therapist, you can. So they will send you the evaluation. They send you the goals. All you have to do is go to that person's home or the place in the community where they've decided to meet up and try to meet those goals. There are some challenges to this. Sometimes you end up in a home that doesn't have a lot of resources, and you're really not supposed to bring your own resources into the home at all when it comes to early intervention. You're not supposed to bring any outside resources or materials into your early intervention session. You're supposed to make it as accessible to that learner and caregiver as possible so that they can replicate it later. So using things that are in their home or in their community so that they can do it on their own. But most of the time, this looks like play and connection, and it's very fun. And yeah, it's just a good gig when you need to fill up your caseload. It's definitely something you can do in addition to working somewhere else. Telepractice. Next, we're going to talk about telepractice. Very common these days, especially after that boom of Zoom meetings and Zoom productivity after the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people would rather see their therapist virtually than in person. And I actually perform a lot of virtual therapy. A lot of my clients are in California, so I do a lot of virtual therapy. Now, there are some limitations of virtual therapy, and there's some pros, right? The pros is that it's pretty flexible. You have a laptop and access to the internet, you can start getting clients. You do have to be licensed in the state that that person lives in, though. So it's very important. I would not be able to have California patients if I didn't have a California license, right? So just want to be mindful of that. Also, another limitation is that some people are just not compatible with virtual treatment. It has been the case in my business where I have gotten a client and I've, asked caregivers beforehand, do you think it'll be good for them to be virtual? And they say yes. But then when we actually do start working, we just find that it is not the best learning style for them. And that is okay. I will, of course, help them find another therapist in person for them and, try to get them connected to the therapy that's best for them. Working remotely can be great, though. You can travel around if you wanted to. I imagine there must be a traveling speech therapist who works virtually and is in a van somewhere going from state park to state park. I think about that a lot, actually. I think it would be really fun. Another avenue you can get into as a speech language pathologist is working at a university and doing research. If you wanted to get into academia, a PhD is not necessary, but that tends to be what speech therapists do. So they tend to get a PhD and then go and find a university job, a professor job, and work and do research as well. But of course, it is not necessary. I had many teachers in my graduate program who had their master's degree and we're teaching, right? Not necessarily to get the PhD, but is pretty typical, I would say, especially if you want to do research. Now, I went to Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, where there was an on-site clinic as well as research opportunities for the professors. I got to work on a research project when I was I was an undergrad at the time, actually. We were working on a childhood apraxia of speech research project. I will tell you that research a lot of the time is punching numbers and data into Excel sheets. It's not, I guess, active as maybe you would like it to be if you are really good with things taking a long time and data entry and, I don't know, less field work. I mean, I guess I was more of a research assistant, so that makes sense why that was my job, right? You're not going into the field and observing and studying these CAS populations. You're putting in the numbers. But I would say even if you are not an assistant, you still have a lot of like tedious work with research, but it's obviously very rewarding, and it helps our profession so much to have evidence to base all of our practices off of. So would highly recommend if that is the person that you are. So fulfilling. If you are a speech language pathologist, you can also go into voice therapy as well. Voice therapy is a very specific niche of speech therapy, and it usually is where our singers who are also speech therapists go, our lovers of accents and voice modification go. There are many speech therapists who work on movie sets or help people who want to transform their voice, especially in the populations of transgendered people if they are hoping to modify their voice in any way. So it's such a cool field. I think I don't know if my life will go that way, but I am very interested in singing. I think I'm just obsessed with the vocalists of our generation, and I think about their health of their voice and what they're doing to modify their voice and protect their voice and all those things. So it's something that, I could see a lot of future speech therapists going into, and something that if you are passionate about, you should do. And then the last one I'm going to talk about today is private practice and clinics. So you can work for clinics that are not private, that take insurance, that are part of a bigger company. I personally worked for a clinic that it was called EBS at the time, but got bought by Stepping Stones Group, and they had a clinic right in Westchester. I'm in Westchester right now, and I would work there after my school day just to get a few more clients in, a few more experience, and it was absolutely wonderful. So many resources, so much play. It's obviously not as structured as school, so it's a little bit easier to kind of go towards the goals that feel motivating for the caregiver and the client, obviously within the realm of insurance coverage if they take insurance. So that's something to consider, and it's something that you can pick up after your school day or after wherever else you work. It's a really good idea to work at a clinic like that if you are trying to go a different way with your career. Like, let's say you are at the school that you want to transition to a medical setting. If after the school day you were to pick up a few patients at a medical clinic, you would gain the experience and hopefully then get hired for the job that you want later in your career. So it provides a lot of flexibility. Now, if you're working for a private clinic with private pay, you have all the flexibility in the world. You don't have to make goals that fit within these insurance companies' needs. It is so cool. I don't even know how else to describe it. Obviously, you want to be as accessible as possible to your clients, and not everybody can afford to private pay, and totally makes sense. You have to do what's best for you and your family. It's just that if you have the opportunity, it's really freeing as a therapist to just be able to do what you feel is necessary for your client without considering what anyone else has to say about it, anyone else besides the support team. So that's bringing us to the conversation of Communiverse, exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today. Communiverse is a neurodiversity affirming interdisciplinary OT/PT speech therapy private clinic. It's one of the most flexible, creative, supportive companies I've ever worked for. I've been working there for 3 years now, you guys. So wild. As soon as I quit my job at the school, I was told about Communiverse from a friend and actually my dad too. And so I met with the owner, Susan Paul, and it was just an instant fit. at Communiverse, you are an independent contractor. So you are not an employee of Communiverse, which means that you can negotiate your rate, but it also means that Communiverse will find the clients for you. So you don't have to go out scouting for clients all around. Communiverse will find the clients for you and bring them to you depending on what kind of clients you would be best at. For me, it's mostly neurodivergent support. It is AAC support most of the time. Doesn't matter the age range, but that's typically, Susan knows those are the clients that are really my niche and my specialty, and that's what ends up coming to me. PDA clients as well. You have so much flexibility because you are able to tell the clients what your hours are. So you can even do it in addition to working somewhere else. You can use the beautiful clinic space available in Conshohocken, PA and Royersford, PA. There are 2 in-person clinics, or you can do virtual work, or you can go to the clients' homes if you would like. And you're really never alone. You have a whole network of other therapists you can message and get feedback on, especially Susan. She's been so supportive and helpful throughout the years. Communiverse has arranged trainings and meetings and new clients and so much integration into my life and learning. And that's why I want to present this opportunity to everyone. If you are looking for the next thing to do in your life and you're in this area, you actually don't even need to be in this area to work through Communiverse. Again, you could be virtual, so you could be anywhere in the world, and Communiverse can find you clients for you to have. It's just the kind of place that reminds you why you became a speech-language pathologist: to make meaningful connections, to use evidence-based practices, and really enjoy your day-to-day work. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested, I'm going to leave the Communiverse details in the description below, the website, how to contact, how to call. I would highly recommend working for Communiverse. There are clients available for you right now. This is in no way sponsored. I know this sounds like an ad, but no, I actually work with Communiverse. And while I was building up my own practice, it has been extremely beneficial to my life to be able to be given the opportunities to build connections with families and clients, and all through just an amazing person to work for. If you are watching this video because you're interested in exploring the world of speech-language pathology, I hope you found this incredibly helpful. This is an amazing job. There are so many different avenues you can take, and I'm very interested to hear about people's experience with these things as well, so drop them in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, leave it a thumbs up, send it to someone who needs to hear this information, and I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for always watching, supporting, subscribing, liking. It means the absolute world to me, and Support the Spectrum is all about creating connections through neurodiversity affirming care. So please stay connected, hit us up, go to my website, and I will see you guys in the next video.